Welcome to Crafting on the Plains, episode 2. This is a Flosstube and craft podcast about cross stitching and sewing and knitting and all of the other crafty endeavors that I get up to. My name is Jacintha, and thank you so much for joining me. As I said, this is my second Flosstube, and I have just been blown away by everybody who has viewed and subscribed and liked and commented and interacted with me over on my first Flosstube. So thank you so much if you're a returning viewer. Thank you so much. And if you're new and just now joining me, then also thank you and welcome. Hopefully you can find something that you enjoy. So as I said, I do a few different crafts. And so I am going to put timestamps below for each of the kind of sections. So if you are interested or not interested in any particular type of craft that I'm doing, then you can skip around. I am going to go ahead and just jump in and get started. So I do have a fully finish. I'm so excited about this. This is my fully finish. It's amazing. This pattern, let me show you the actual pattern. By the way, I'm going to try to insert pictures of the patterns that I don't have physical copies of. I very rarely stitch off of anything that's not a PDF. I just prefer using PDFs. So I will try my best to try to insert pictures when I don't have the physical pattern with me. So this pattern is Iron Maiden, and it is a design by Uncanny Kari and D's 20 Stitches. So here is what it looks like. And this was part of the Spring Fling 2022, which was the first Spring Fling put on by D and Kari. That is their virtual retreat that happens in May. I went the first one. It was an amazing time. Loved it so much. I did not get to go to this second one this past year. I just knew that my May was going to be way too busy, and so I didn't want to sign up for it and then end up not being able to go and take a spot from someone else. But this was one of the patterns that came with the retreat. And there was another kind of companion pattern that's similar to this but smaller that also came with it. And it came with the fabric, which is beautiful. It came with the floss. The floss and the fabric are both by Brin and Needle. This is a 36 count. I don't actually know what the fabric is called, but the flosses are also from Brin and Needle. These are the flosses that came with they're super ratty because I started this not this past May, the May before that, May 2022. So they've been sitting in a bag. But these are the flosses by Brin and Needle, and these are amazing to work with. And I believe that this pattern, it was exclusive to the retreat for 1 year, but now I believe it's been released, and I will try to link it below. But it came with the floss, it came with 2 patterns, it came with the amazing fabric, and I stitched this 2 over 2 on 36 count, and then it also came with these little pins, these like decorative pins for you to put in there. Now this is not a true pin cushion because it's just stuff with fiber fill. There's no like lizard litter or walnut shells or like sand or anything else in there, because I don't really plan on using her as a real pin cushion. I plan on displaying her. I don't know where, but I'm going to because she's fabulous. It did not come, the kit, the retreat did not come with the pom-pom trim. I added that myself. I used, and I didn't grab it, but what I use, just as a tip for anyone who wants to know, when I add trims like this, a lot of times, especially if it's an oddly shaped, piece, is I use the Wash Away Wonder Tape by Dritz, and it is amazing because it holds really well, but it doesn't gunk up your needle. And it's a way to basically, you put it down on your piece, you stick on the trim, and then you sandwich the trim, put it all together and then sew it around. So that's what I did. And then the backing is an amazing fabric. This is a fabric from the Darlings 2 pattern, from the Darling 2 line from Ruby Star Society, and it's actually a leftover from this quilt that's behind me. This is the a quilt that I made out of Darlings 2 by Ruby Star Society. And I do have enough left of this fabric to also make a project bag, and I'm going to do that because, I mean, it's amazing. It's metallic octopi. But I love it. I'm so excited to have it done, and yeah, I'm just gonna display it somewhere. So super excited to have this one done, and I do want to stitch the small that goes along with it at some point. I have also a finish, and this is not something that I showed you last time because I hadn't worked on it in a while and I got back to it. So it's in a Me Made project bag. I showed this project bag last time, and it is Hello Summer by Primrose Cottage. Let's see if I can get this. It's so cute. So I'm so happy with this project. It does still have hoop marks. I apologize. I don't think I ironed it. I think it just got so excited it was done that I put it in here and couldn't wait to show you. So here it is. I did a complete conversion on this. I purchased this and started this back in May, and it was supposed to be a quick like weekend project, stitch it all from stash, famous last words. And what happened was I didn't have any of the called for DMCs, which is weird, like not a single one except for B5200, which is in the little words. And so then I pulled some overdyes for it, and I pulled some overdyes, liked how it was looking, and then I started to stitch some of it with overdyes and some of it with DMC. So I did like these ones, or maybe these three, I'm not really sure. I did a few, and then I started stitching, I think it was the S, in just like a regular DMC shade. And I normally am 100% fine with mixing DMC and overdyed flosses, doesn't bother me at all. And in fact, like I said, this right here, the summer, the lettering is B5200, and then the popsicle sticks is a DMC as well. But I think because they were just these really big, you can see the variegation. Because it was these really big blocks of color, it was very obvious that some of them were variegated and then a couple of them were going to be just solid. So I picked it out and I just purchased some floss. So I will go through my conversion. This is what I use the stitchy stuff for that I showed in my last video, and I'm really, really happy with it. So the flosses I used are, and it's a whole mess of them because I was just sort of playing around and seeing what I liked. So the stitchy stuff that I used was Summer Sky and Watermelon Margarita, which it's just not showing up true. It looks like a watermelon. I also used Classic Colorworks Mold Berries for the purple, and I used a couple more. I used Gentle Art Tropical Ocean for the blue kind of teal, and Gentle Art Orange Marmalade. And these ones, all of these were in my stash, and then I just added these. And then the variegated yellow is actually a DMC, one of their color variants. It's 4075. I think they have names, but I don't know what its name is. So it's the yellow one, and it's very pretty. I was very impressed. So that's the floss, such as it is. And the only regret I have is I had started this planning on having it be all from stash, and I was trying to stick to the same colors in the same order and kind of, I don't know, I wish that I had just from the beginning just gone completely rogue and put it in like rainbow order and just disregarded and just purchase things and kitted it up. Because even though I wanted this to be like a stash busting, you know, project, I would much rather be happy with my finish and love my finish than stick to some arbitrary rule I've set myself. So I'm really happy with it. I love how it turned out, and it's so cute. I am definitely planning on finishing this one before the end of the summer because I know exactly what I want to do with it. I'm going to do literally the same thing Primrose Cottage did, just a pillow finish with some pom-pom trim. It's going to be adorable. So there is that one. So hopefully that will be a fully finish for you next time. Okay, so on to some whips. I do have a new start that I will show you first off, and it is in a bag that I made that I will talk to you a little bit more about in sewing. And the new start is another one where I don't have the pattern with me, but I will endeavor to post a photo. It's Winter Thistle by Modern Folk Embroidery. Here I am, and I even have my needle minder still. Sorry, I've got crazy hoop marks on this one. Okay, there we go. Winter Thistle. And I started this completely on a whim. My family, my husband and my daughter and I, we took a trip to Scotland this past June, so this summer, and it was amazing, incredible, wonderful. We spent 2 weeks in Scotland. We traveled to various locations throughout Scotland, and it was just the best trip we've ever taken, and we love it, and we are already trying to figure out how we can go back again, in a couple years, because it was great. And so I've been really inspired by a lot of things that are sort of symbols of Scotland, just as a way to sort of keep the memory of that trip alive. And one of the things that you see all over Scotland, especially in the Highlands, are thistles. And they're a symbol of Scotland, and you see them on a lot of different things, especially like tourist merchandise and stuff like that. And so we actually purchased a couple thistle, not like real thistles, because they're very dangerous and painful to touch, but Christmas ornaments with thistle images on them, because that's one of the things we like to get as souvenirs, or Christmas ornaments, because they're easy to pack and take with you and things like that. And so when I saw this, I was just sort of perusing Modern Folk Embroidery like you do, and I saw this and I thought, okay, I really want to stitch that, and I really wanted another Christmas in July project that was kind of a small, and also I realized that this would be a perfect stash busting project. So this is where I'm at, and in the pattern, I am actually stitching this one. I am stitching this 1/2 on 36 count, which is odd for me. So this fabric is 36 count Witching Hour by Under the Sea Fabrics, and it is dark, and it is a tight weave. It's a very tight weave because the dye process does shrink it up a little bit. So I have stitched on the same fabric. I've stitched 2/2, and it was a very tight stitch. I liked the coverage of it. It was certainly very full coverage, but for a couple reasons, I want to do something different. The main reason is what I decided to stitch this on, or stitches with rather, is a skein of floss that I got a couple years ago for a different project, and it is Fool's Gold by Classic Colorworks. And as you can see, it's a gold and silver variegated floss. It's beautiful, but this thing is really hard to stitch on fabrics, because if it's like a tan fabric, the gold doesn't show up. If it's like a more lighter colored fabric, then the silver doesn't show up. And I had purchased it like it was called for in some project, and you couldn't see it at all on the fabric that I was stitching it on, so I had to sub it out. And I've just had this random skein of floss sitting around, and I know a lot of people have lots of random skeins of floss sitting around, but I was like, I want to use it in something. It's beautiful. I love it. I want to use it. I don't know what to use it for. And I thought this would be perfect. Because it's the sample that Jacob shows is stitched in like a gold, and then also some white. So I thought this would be a perfect use of it. But he says you need 10 yards, and I only have 5 yards. So that's how come I'm stitching it 1/1, is because I'm hoping that I have enough. I'm going to use, for the white, I'm going to use Sulky White. I just really like the Sulky White. It's just the 12 weight, number 1001, I think. and that's what I'm going to use when I do get to the white. But I'm very happy with this. You can see the thistle's coming along well, and I think you can see it. I think you can see it okay. I will say, I do see why people like to do the 1/1 or the 1/2 because it goes a lot quicker, not having to railroad your stitches and all of that. So that is nice. But I'm happy with this. I probably won't do it for a lot of projects, but I'm happy to do the 1/2 on this one. So I'm very excited about that. I don't know if I'm going to keep stitching on this or if I'm just going to put it away and pull it back out when it gets closer to Christmas time, and it'll just be like a good start that I can pull out then. Okay, so my next whip, speaking of Christmas in July, is Christmas Bell Sampler. And this one was supposed to be my focus piece for this month. And I feel like it looks like I did nothing, but I really did. I really put a lot of work on this. So here we are. And this is Christmas Bell Sampler by Heartstring Sampler. And I had, the last time I showed you, I'm going to actually have to like fold this just so that you can see me. I had this all along here. I'm just going to hold it sideways because that's the best way to show you. All along here, I had the like vine stitched, like the main vine, but I didn't have any of these like leaves or bells or flowers or anything. So I added in all of this section. And then I also stitched this vine down here. And I had the brilliant idea, thankfully, that I got from other people to go ahead and just try to stitch this around and make sure that it was going to meet up. And I'm glad I did because it didn't. Did not. I had missed like one of the sections at the bottom. So it was ending like I don't know. It was not matching up. So I actually had stitched all the way around the vine, not the flowers or the leaves or anything, but just the base of the vine all the way up to where it's supposed to like connect to the upper part. And I had to unpick it. So that's what I spent a lot of time doing unpicking. And then after I unpicked it, I was a little bit discouraged. So I have been stitching on it. I did add a bit. I think one thing is I had really underestimated how much work this project is, because all of these, I mean, it's just a lot of like cutting your thread and adding another color and then jumping over here and then adding another color. And so it takes a long time. And I felt like when I first started this, it stitched up really fast, but I was also doing it like as a monogamous project, and I had been like on a really relaxing vacation. We had gone to Santa Fe last Christmas time, and we just like done a lot of like laying around and eating. And so I was a lot busier this month than I thought I would be. And also this takes a lot more work than I remember it taking. And so I definitely did not get as much as I wanted to get done on it, but I really just wanted to get something accomplished so that when I pick it back up, you know, closer to Christmas time, it's more likely to be a finish at that point. So this is going away for now. I'm not gonna pick it back up. And I don't think I mentioned, this is on 36 count, Winter Moon by Zweigart. And I'm stitching it 2/2. And I'm using my own classic, or my own color and cotton conversion, which I went over last time. If you ever want any of my conversions on anything, and you want like a more detailed, this is the color I used for this color, this is what I subbed in here, please message me or contact me somehow, and I am happy to I'm happy to give that to you in like a more, you know, put together formal format, I guess. Okay. And then my last whip is my full coverage, my Hade. And this is housed in this double project bag project folder that I made myself. And this is a big old mess. All right, here we are. It took me a minute to get that all sorted out. So as you can see, it's kind of a mess. I have a thread that's coming down here. I'm just real sorry. This thing it's at a bad spot right now. I actually love this project. I love this project. Don't want you to think I don't. But right now, I don't know if you can see, but I'm stitching like 6 different shades of white on white. And I had last time I showed you it was just about 16% done, and now it is just about 18% done. So I stitched 2%, which feels like nothing, but again, it's white on white. And so yeah, but you can see I'm getting some of her like hair, and this is like the moon behind her, and there's some more like birds. It's coming along. Like I love it. Some of these up here, these spots were colors that I didn't have for some reason. Like I thought I had them, but I didn't. So I have actually went to my Joann's is closed right now. I've told you my saga last time, if you watched last time. But I was in Norman, Oklahoma, and so I went to Michael's and I picked up some of the threads I was missing. So I should be able to do those. So I'm 18% done, and I also usually, this is like my evening stitching, and I haven't been able to do it in the evening because I cannot see it. So I have been like it's been a little bit of a struggle, but I still love it, and I'm determined to power through and get it done. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about a couple stitching plans that I have. So I am excited to start some fall stitching. I'm very excited to start some fall stitching. So one thing that I pulled out is this pattern, which is from Stitch with Coffee on Etsy. I had to check. It's just in an Amazon bag. Nothing cute. And it is, I can't even remember what this thing, oh, it's called Trick or Treat. That's what it's called. And I started this last, like, Halloween time, and it's so cute. I love it. And there's going to be, hopefully I've posted a picture, but there's going to be 2 cats. Just there, that's easier. There's going to be 2 cats, in the middle. And it's going to be so cute. I actually am a lot further along than I thought I was. I thought I still had to finish these arches. I need to do some in the eyeballs. There's going to be some like backstitched like veins. And this is just like, it's the most like kitschy, cute, like silly, spooky Halloween everything that I love. I love the colors. I love purple as a Halloween color, and it's amazing. So here are my threads, which are a tangly mess, but that's okay. They are there. It's just all called for DMC, all called for, and the fabric is a 32 count witch hilt in, I think it's like pearl gray. I don't dislike stitching on the witch hilt fabric. I like it because I can get on Amazon. It's super easy. I don't hate it. I think stitching on like with DMC is great. I think if I was using like something like Color and Cotton, which is a lot softer and more tends to fray, I can see why that would be not so great. I also am a hoop or Q-snap stitcher, so I know that there's some in-hand stitchers that don't love the feel of this, but that's again not a really big issue for me. So I don't mind the witch hilt. It's very affordable and it's easily accessible, at least for me, because I can get on Amazon. And so yeah, there it is. And I am hoping to make some pretty substantial progress on this next month. Very excited. And then I do have something that I'm thinking about very strongly as a new start, and that is Plum Street Samplers Raccoon Rabble. Get out of the bag. This is one of those like animal trios that Paulette Stewart does, and there's a fly. And I love raccoons. Raccoons are kind of special to us because in our house, we try to teach our daughter as much of the Choctaw language as we can. We're not like fluent in it at all or anything, but we do try to keep that language alive as much as we can with her. And how you say raccoon is showy, And when she was little, she like did not know the English word raccoon. She only knew showy, and like would get in arguments like with her teachers at school, like her daycare teachers, being like, "Why are you calling this thing a raccoon?" And so it's really funny. She like every other animal she knew the English name and the Choctaw name, but for some reason showy stuck, and she could not remember the word raccoon. But I think they're so cute. I love these stacks. I've already stitched the hedgehog one, and I have several others that I own that I've collected. They're in my plans. And so I think I have all of the overdyed floss that's needed for this. I just have a couple DMCs that are missing, and I can probably just substitute those. So I'm hoping on this being like a start in the next, I don't know if it'll be before the next video, but it'll be this autumn. I think I've decided. I've looked at it enough now that I've decided. Okay, I don't have any stitching haul, so that is it for my stitching. I'm going to talk now about my sewing. So for sewing, I have a couple things. So I have some finishes. One is I have finished this English paper pieced thing. So there it is. It's quilted. It's still got the needle in it. Obviously I haven't used it yet. It's got felt on the back and it's all attached. So I'm really happy. I told a pretty sentimental story about what this piece is and how old it is in my first Flosstube. But I'm really happy to have it done. I think I'm going to use it for like some type of a, just like mat to set like some candles and like some cute stuff on. So I'm happy to have it finished and have it not be just making me feel guilty sitting in a plastic bag at the bottom of my crafting organizer anymore. So there's one. The other finish I have that I had showed you I was working on last time is this project bag by that I made, and with these I have used kind of a mashup of the tutorial from Elizabeth Ann Kinstitch and the tutorial from Nicole Spohr, because I use Elizabeth Ann Kinstitch's her measurements, but then I bind it because I just prefer to bind it. It's a lot easier for me than to turn it out. And I've had several people comment on they love my bags and they love how I do them. So thank you so much. I'm not taking credit for coming up with this. Like I said, this is a mashup of two other people, but I'm really glad that y'all are enjoying my bags. So this, I just played with some scraps and put it together. The back is just this fabric. I think like all of this is from like Joann's, just random stuff from Joann's. And the inside is a curtain. And I tend to do this, you're going to see this, where I will just find a big piece of fabric, yardage that's on sale, a curtain, a bed sheet, whatever, as long as it's like good quality or decent quality, and then I will use that as all my linings, all my everything, until it's gone. So that's currently, I'm working through this big piece of like light gray fabric. So there's that. Very happy about it. And I will say, I put my zipper to the edge. I was nervous about it, but I didn't lose my zipper, and I think it's going to be okay. So I'm so far so good. Then my next sewing project is I made another project bag, but for a different craft. So this is a knitting project bag, and here it is. It's glorious. I love this thing. It's so cute. This is leftover fabric from a dress I made my daughter. And I thought about pulling out that dress and showing it to you because it's like one of my the most like things I'm proud of making. It turned out so good. But I forgot to, so maybe if you want to see some of my past makes, let me know. Because I'm always not sure if I should like pull out stuff that I made like a couple years ago or whatever. But this was leftover, and I think I talked a little bit about this last time, but I didn't go into details. So I have a pretty substantial stash of fabric, and it's not the problem that I have a stash. I know lots of people have stashes. It's that I have a stash of a lot of fabric that is like leftovers from projects that I wouldn't really like. I'm as cool as this is, I'm not gonna like put this in my house. You know what I mean? It doesn't match my decor. It's not big enough to make a lot of things out of. I had a really bad habit of like going to Joann's or another fabric store and seeing that something was on sale and liking it. So like picking up a half yard here and a half yard there. And before I know it, I have these bins of fabric that none of it goes together. I can't like make a cohesive project. It's not enough fabric to really make something in and of itself with a lot of times. And it's not even necessarily my style because I just bought it because I liked it and I didn't think, how will this fit in with my home? How will this fit in with my wardrobe? Or it's left over from something, you know, I bought it to make a Halloween costume or some dress that my daughter liked that, you know, I'm not going to be able to use the scraps up or whatever. And so I have a lot of stash, but I also feel like I can't just get inspired and go to my sewing stash and like pull something out and start making. So I want to clear out a lot of my stash. I want to use up my stash and make room to start creating a very intentional stash of stuff that I truly love, that is a bit more cohesive, that speaks more to my personal style now. And so that's why I've really been making a lot of project bags, besides the fact that they're super fun and handy. I've been trying to come up with ways to utilize my stash of sewing fabric in a way that's constructive, but also is using things up so that I can make room to buy other stuff that I really, really love now. So I'm super happy with how this turned out. I love it. I'm so happy. So it is, I just kind of, I don't know, I kind of looked at some other bags that other people had and sort of came up with some dimensions. So it's got this rainbow. I've got quite a few rainbow things going on this week. Rainbow on top. It's got this gingham on the bottom. This is all just quilting cotton, and it's interfaced with medium weight interfacing. I did some top stitching, and then the top, I actually did a, like it's a channel that's separately, like it's kind of in between the two layers, and it's lined with the curtain. And then I just used some black ribbon for the drawstring. I would have liked to use maybe like some cording or something, but again, trying to use up my stash. So I'm really happy with this. It turned out really great, and it's housing my daughter's sweater. I thought it would be fun to have a rainbow project bag for a rainbow sweater. I thought that was fun, and also I'm just so happy with how this turned out. It's amazing. Okay, so one more sewing item, and then I will go on to knitting, and you can see what's in this bag. So I have started a sewing project for my daughter, and it's in this bin. So I got this bin from the Dollar Tree, and I love these bins. They're kind of flimsy, but I like to store my sewing whips in these because it keeps them organized and everything together, and my cats can't like lay all in it and everything like that. So, but this is kind of a bizarre project, but it makes me really happy, and most importantly, it makes my daughter really happy. So, let me move all my hair out of the way. So this is a pair of pajamas that's sushi print, obviously. So my daughter loves sushi. She loves sushi. She's almost 5, and ever since she was like 2, it's been her favorite thing. Now, I will say we're vegetarians, so we don't eat a lot of this stuff on here, but she does love avocado rolls, cucumber rolls, sweet potato rolls. Seaweed salad is her newest obsession, of course, because it's like expensive, and miso soup, and like all the things, right? So we were in Joann's at some point. She loves to go there with me, and she saw this fabric and just like begged and begged to have something sushi, and it's a flannel, so I couldn't really make like, you know, I don't know, I guess I could have made a dress out of it, but I thought it would be good for pajamas because it's a novelty print, whatever. So I found this pattern, and it is called the Adelaide by Little Lizard King. on Etsy, and I've never used this company before. And when I'm finished, I'll give you a full review of like what I think about the pattern, because I've got some mixed feelings right now. But it's going well. So I am making the little shorts, which I haven't put the elastic drawstring in yet, but these are the shorts. They're so cute. And I'm making her the 6-year-old size because she's pretty tall, and I want it to last a while because it's taking me a while to make. So this is the little shorts. These are finished except for the elastic needs to go in. And I always add in, or I don't always, but I try to always add in like a little ribbon. It's not even a real like tag, but a little ribbon. That way she and my husband can know what the back is on things. So there's that. These are so cute. And then it's going to have a nightgown that goes with it, matching little nightgown. It's so adorable. And I'll just show you the back piece because that's all I've really worked on so far. So this is the back piece, just to give you a little bit of an idea. It looks like a nightgown, or what something might be a nightgown. I just last night did the gusset. So this is the gusset, and that way, because the top part will have a button, and so it'll kind of lay a little bit more regularly and open up like that. So I was really intimidated the first time I did a gusset on a pattern. Not this one, I've done them before, but now they don't really bother me. They're actually a lot simpler than I thought they'd be. So don't be afraid of gussets. I will say this pattern is probably not a beginner pattern. I haven't found anything terribly tricky yet, but I have been sewing for quite a while, and there is like, you do have to put in a gusset. There's some bias binding on some armholes that I haven't done yet. There's just a few different things that I think it wouldn't be my first thing I ever sewed. But it's coming along, and I'm excited about it. And my daughter is so excited about it. So there's that. So that is all of my sewing works in progress. So now I am going to talk about my knitting. So for my knitting, I have a couple things. I did work on my Miserina, but I really don't know if you can tell that it has had much change. So I'm going to hold off on that to show you when I have like more dramatic progress to show. But I have a couple things. So one is I have been working on my socks, and this is so pathetic. Look at what I have. I finished this sock except for I need to just catch the toe. Why haven't I done this yet? I don't know. I think it was because where I was when I finished this, I didn't have a tapestry needle to the Kitchener. So I thought, oh, I'll go get one the next time I get up. And then I promptly did something else and completely forgot. And now it's been like 2 days, and I just toe. So I'm going to try to remember to do that maybe while I'm editing this video or something. But I did. It's practically one finished sock. This pattern is the Morning Coffee Socks by Crazy Sock Lady, and it is a variation on like a 1x3 rib. It's very hard to see because this yarn is very dark. This is actually not completely that pattern, so this is a mashup of 3 patterns. So I use the stitch pattern from the Morning Coffee Socks. The heel is the mini heel flap adjustment heel from Mina Phillip and her vanilla sock pattern. And the toe is the toe from the beanie toe from Jules at So Sweet Violet, her sweet vanilla toe or sweet vanilla cuff down pattern. So that's my favorite toe and that's my favorite heel. So I just add them into every sock that I make. And this is, I don't think I have the tag, but it is called the Bone Runes sock set by, there is a fly. I don't know if you can actually see it on camera, but there's a fly all in everywhere. It's somewhere in Oklahoma. What can you do? from Dragon Horde Yarns, and it's a beautiful like dark plum color, and it has these contrasting heel and cuff and toe minis that came with it. I love her sock sets. Okay, so I'm committing that I'm going to kitchen that toe today. At least tomorrow. I'm already hedging. Okay, and then not my last. Another whip. This is actually crochet. This is something I've pulled out to work on, and so I thought I'd show it to you. This is my granny stripe blanket, and it is a long-term project. This thing has been going for several years, and it's a crochet stripe blanket. It's huge, but not nearly as big enough as it should be, so you can see. And it's just scraps, This one is purely scraps. I don't buy any minis just to put in here. Sometimes it's scraps of minis, like if I've used a mini, it's a leftover, but all of this yarn has been used for something else before it came into this. So here it is. It's amazing. And you can see I've got some ends to weave in. But I'm holding this here because this is my loop. But here we are. And I added a few rows. I love working on this thing, and I have been at various times just like addicted to working on it. And but the problem is crocheting really hurts my wrist. And I have like a more ergonomically shaped crochet hook. I've tried different ways, and it just still hurts my wrist. And so I can only do it for like short periods of time, and then I have to put it down. So it's a very slow going project, but I really, really like it. And I mean, it's finally gotten to the point where it's like big enough to actually look like it's gonna be a blanket and not just like an incredibly absurd scarf. So that's good. But yeah, this is a slow going project. I don't know when I'll pull it out again, but I'll probably pull it out at least once more before the end of the year. And then my new knitting project, which is housed partially in this bag and also partially in this mess of a basket. If I can show you this without dumping everything out. My goodness, so much yarn. So this is the Adventures with Rainbows by Jennifer Steingass. And this is going to be my daughter's birthday sweater. Every year for my daughter's birthday, I knit her a sweater. And this year she picked a rainbow sweater, which meant I needed a lot of yarn. So here it is so far. I'm hoping I can show it to you. I'm almost done with the yoke. So I've added in all the colors. It's amazing. It's so pretty. I've added in all the colors. And I need one more stripe of red, and then I'll knit a couple rows of the gray just to get it long enough, and then I'll separate for the sleeves, which I'm hoping to be able to do by the end of this week. And there we go. It's so pretty. And she wanted it, so it's this way, it's an actual rainbow order. This way, it's not. She wanted it in opposite rainbow order. She was very specific about that. And so it's so much fun. And small people sweaters for children that are made out of worsted weight yarn go so much faster than adult sweaters that are made out of fingering weight yarn. So this has been a great project. I'm doing with my ends, I'm doing what's called the Weave-In Steven method, which is the Stephen West method, where basically you catch the ends of your yarn, of your tails, with like as if you're catching floats for color work for like 8 or 9 stitches, and then theoretically you should be able to cut these just off. I usually go back and weave in a couple the opposite way because I'm paranoid. But yeah, makes it a lot easier because you're essentially weaving in the ends as you go, which you have to do for something like this or else you'll be sad later. So it's a circular yoke. It's so much fun. I'm loving this. And if you have a good stash of yarn and you're not super particular about your colors, or you just have a whole lot of stash of yarn that is all the same weight, you could just make this out of scraps. I think that's what this is designed for, is more like scraps. But I didn't have the right colors in the right weight with the right like tone and value. And I wanted to all be like washable. My daughter is very sensitive when it comes to like certain types of yarn. So I know that she likes this yarn and she's fine with it. This is Brava Worsted by Knit Picks, and it is an acrylic worsted weight yarn. And I'm going to have, because obviously only like of the colors, like the just accent colors, you only need a tiny bit of them. So I'm going to have a lot left over. So I'm already thinking about like what other projects I can use for this. I think it'll be good to use for like friends that are having kids, having babies, things like that will be good for this. So I'm excited. It's coming along so nicely. And I'm really hoping to have it done like within the next month or so, because then I can just put it away and it's finished and I don't have to worry about like working on it, and I can work on the other stuff I need to. So, because her birthday is not till October, but I don't want to wait till the last minute. So that is, I believe, all of my crafting. So, and I don't have any haul on anything else. So just a tiny bit of life update. We've been just so busy the last few weeks. We took a little trip up to northeastern Oklahoma to go visit some family, which was great. And I got a lot of car knitting done in that time. And we've been doing swim classes for my daughter, and she's actually going to be starting pre-K here in like 2 weeks, which is crazy and exciting, and also I can't believe it. So that all has meant less stitching time because of busyness, but it's also been really fun as well. So I'm excited about that. I will be going back to my like in-office job here in a couple weeks as well. I'm a college professor and an attorney, so I mostly work from home in the summertime, and then during the school year, obviously, I do have to be, physically on campus for my students and stuff. So I'm going to be going back to campus here in a couple weeks as well, which I'm both excited to be getting back into a more routine and also sad to be, not having it be summer every day. So, but I'm really excited about my projects. I also didn't mention at the beginning of the episode, I do have Instagram. So if you do have Instagram, mine is, I'll put it's just crafting on the planes with like dots in between the words, same as the YouTube channel. So I will put that down below, my Instagram handle. So if you want to give me a follow there, you can see more updates about my projects. And also, thank you so much. If you've made it this far, thank you so much again for all of the wonderful comments and all the views. I'm really interested to know how you found me. Did you just stumble across me on YouTube? Like, how did you come across my channel? Because I have been blown away. I really thought like 10 people were going to watch this. So it's been really nice to see how many views I've gotten and how many amazing people who have subscribed and commented. So again, thank you so much. And let me know what autumn stitching that you are going to be doing, and also let me know what other crafts you do, because obviously I do cross stitch and sewing and knitting, so I'm interested to know what crafts you do as well, so I can get to know you, my viewers, a little better. So thank you so much, and I will see you in the next update.